All right, I just wanted to come on today and make hopefully a short video here recommending for four books, fantasy books that I highly recommend if you have not read these and you enjoy reading fantasy. I can't recommend these enough. Now, I'm not a big reader. While I've read these books, there's a lot of books I haven't read. I've never read Elric, Dune, Arthur C. Clarke. I've never read anything by him. A lot of the big names in fantasy I have not read because I've just never been a very big reader. But I did read probably 20 to 30 books, and I'm just going to go over them real quick. This one is a trilogy. I did read The Sword of Shannara by Terry Brooks too, and I thought that was a great book. Magic Kingdom for Sale sold. I love the sold stamp over the for sale. If you have not read this, and if you love reading fantasy, and you are a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, this is a must read. For me, this is a must read. Now, I know I should read Elric. I know I should be reading Elric, and I haven't. And if there's any other books that you could recommend to me to like, you got to read this. If you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, you got to read this. Put them in the comments. I'd love to hear what should I read. But I'm telling you, these are you're going to love. This is the best of the three books. It's a great book, and this dog is the influence in my book for Bale. This character is how or why I came up with Bale. It's not exactly the same, obviously, but it's very interesting. And this guy, Ben Holiday, is the main character, and he's a lawyer from Chicago. And I'm pretty sure that Terry Brooks used to be a lawyer from Chicago. So the implication in this book is that this is a real place because he purchases this magic kingdom, and the entrance, the secret magical entrance, is in America. It's somewhere around like down by Georgia or something. I forget. It's been so many years since I've read this. But it really sounds like this is a real place. And that would be really cool if it was. But, I know he's just going for the concept there. But I can't recommend this enough. This is my second of the four books. I recommend the second that you read. Guardians of the Flame, The Sleeping Dragon. I always forget that this is called The Sleeping Dragon. But this is the most D&D book of the group. This is a party of adventurers who get turned into their characters magically. This dwarf here in real life, he's handicapped. He can't walk. He's in a wheelchair, just to give you one example. And I think the wizard is an old man. I don't remember. But this is a really fun series. And this is, there's 3 or 4 books. I only read the first one. I never read any more. And this one is great. Next is the Dark Sword Trilogy by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman. It's about a dark sword. It's forging the dark sword. So highly recommend it. This is a trilogy again. And lastly, the one that I recommend the most and is the only one for some reason that has been narrated on YouTube. Those other books are not narrated. The second book of the Magic Kingdoms book is narrated. I'm like, why did you read the second one but not the first one? Maybe there's a thing that you can't. I don't know. But I'm telling you, if you are a fan of fantasy and or Dungeons and Dragons and you haven't read the Chronicles of Amber, you have to read the Chronicles of Amber. Some consider it the greatest fantasy book series ever written. I consider it the greatest fantasy book series. Not necessarily the greatest fantasy book, but book series. It's a 5-book series. The main character's name is Corwin, and I am listening to the narration. It's here. You can't see it. I'll tip it down a little bit. 9 Princes in Amber by Roger Zelazny. Michael Moody is the narrator. I've listened to this one. I've listened to book 2, The Guns of Avalon. Just finished, and I'm listening to it while I read my big book of Amber. Let me hold that up real quickly here. This book is what I'm reading while I listen to it. It's got all the books in it. It's actually a 10-book series, but it's 2 5-book series. So the first 5 are the best. That's the one you want to read. And when I'm reading while listening to the narration, I find this so much better for me because I get easily distracted when I read, and I'll I'll read like a whole paragraph and won't even know what I read, and I have to go back and read it. But when I'm listening to the narration while reading the book, it's so good. And I just finished book 2, The Guns of Avalon. I actually narrated book 1, but no one's listening, so I decided to stop. Um, we'll see if anything changes in the future. But the Guns of Avalon, I forgot how good the Guns of Avalon was. I thought I had thought that wasn't as good, and I'm totally wrong. It was so good to listen to. I'm just about I'm ready now to start listening to book 3, which is Sign of the Unicorn, and it's the Hand of Oberon and the Courts of Chaos, and that's book 5. And I cannot wait because oh my God, this was so good to listen to. And then lastly are my books, and these are narrated too. So the Chronicles of Amber is narrated on YouTube. You can listen to that guy, Michael Moody. There's other people who narrate. There's several people who've narrated the Chronicles of Amber on YouTube, so it's great. But I've narrated my book, so you can just listen to it. This is book 1, The Sacred Shrine and the Valley of Caves, and book 2, The Caves of Ordered Randomness. If you like Dungeons and Dragons and you don't like listening to this, I'll be surprised. You can read it for free on my blog while you listen to it, and like I say, I highly recommend it. Links are in the description to my blog as well as my book on Amazon. I highly recommend that you do both at the same time. It really makes it more enjoyable. At least that's what I've found. So I just wanted to come on and make this short video. I hope you check out these books. At least if you're going to just do one, listen to Michael Moody or someone narrate the Chronicles of Amber. I just think it's phenomenal. And if you have a recommendation for me, especially if it's narrated on YouTube, please let me know, because I'll do that, because I've really gotten into this. It's just so much more fun to read a book while listening to somebody read it to you at the same time. It's so enjoyable. And I really hope you check out my book, because I want to know what is the general consensus. Is it enjoyable to listen to? I enjoy listening to it, but that's obvious. Obviously, I'm going to enjoy listening to it. All right, I will talk to you all later. Hope you check out these books, and I hope you leave a comment letting me know what you think. Talk to you all later. Bye-bye.